everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Addict and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, hello, my name is Beth. I play a lot of The Sims 2. I'm making this video today because this morning EA has re-released The Sims 1 and The Sims 2 Legacy Editions, and they are for sale right now on the EA app and on Steam. In my country in Australia, The Sims 2 costs $50 Australian dollars or $49.95, and The Sims 1 costs $29.95. Which is pretty damn expensive if you ask me for an old video game that was once released for free, but let's just ignore that and move on. I want to say a huge hello and welcome because if you are discovering The Sims 2 for the first time, thanks to The Sims 2's 25th anniversary re-release, you have just entered into a very well-established, long-standing part of The Sims community, which you may have not been aware of before. But The Sims 2 has been a very lively, a very active community for the last 20 years since this game was released. Even when EA stopped offering support for The Sims 2, The Sims 2 community stayed alive, stayed active, stayed very creative. And in particular, probably over the last 5 to 10 years, The Sims 2 has had a massive renaissance, regardless of EA. And there is a whole community here ready to welcome you in if this is your first time experiencing The Sims 2. And about 20 years worth of mods, custom content, and community activity for you to discover. So hello, welcome. So as I mentioned, I have been playing The Sims 2 for many, many years. I was one of the lucky people who got the Ultimate Collection when it was given away for free on Origin. And recently I released a video talking about how I had moved over to Linux, a Linux operating system, to run my Sims 2 game because it performed better. So when I heard that The Sims 2 was going to be re-released with potential fixes, I was quite interested. I was a little curious. I was a little like, oh, that'll be interesting to see if it is actually, you know, improved or fixed whatsoever. And so today, live on stream, my stream is still here, by the way. Say hi, everyone. We decided to test out this fabulous new Legacy edition of The Sims 2. According to EA, The Sims 2 had been fixed to recognize modern systems, Windows 10, 11 systems. So new graphics cards should be supported, more memory should be supported as well. If your computer has a lot of RAM, it should be able to recognize and use that. There was a big claim, one that interests me the most, which was that memory issues and pink flashing or pink soup had been fixed. Spoiler alert, maybe not true. And generally there was performance stability improvements as well, less crashing and things like that. So I was pretty interested to see how the game would perform. And I've spent the last 2 hours or 2.5 hours having a look around this new Legacy Edition, trying out my existing downloads folders, my existing neighborhoods, etc, etc. And so I have now got a lot of information to share with you if this is something that you're interested in. So for the first part of this video, I want to talk about if you are an existing Sims 2 player and you're considering upgrading to this Legacy Edition. Spoiler alert, don't do it, okay? just don't. The Sims 2 Legacy Edition does not come with the IKEA stuff pack. I believe this is because of licensing issues. I believe that EA will probably no longer hold a license to release the Sims 2 IKEA stuff, so it is missing from the download. The good news here is that you can download the content that was included in IKEA and put it into your game thanks to a wonderful person, Huge Lunatic. And so I'll put a link for that in the video description, but by default, IKEA stuff is missing. It is not included. The second big one, and probably in my mind the biggest oversight with the Sims 2 Legacy Edition, is that the Sims 2 Body Shop is not included. Now, Body Shop is something that came with the Sims 2 back in the day. It was an external little program where you could go in, create Sims, create custom content for your Sims as well, like clothing and hair, and do all sorts of things. Body Shop had extra manipulation sliders included with it, so there was extra ways to customize your Sims that weren't by default in the game. And so it was a really cool little program, an extra plugin for The Sims 2 that is not present in The Sims 2 Legacy Edition. I tested out to see if I could copy over The Sims 2 Body Shop files from my Ultimate Collection, paste them into the Legacy Edition and see if I could get it to run. And while Body Shop did open, it then immediately crashed and I could not use it. So Body Shop is missing, and for me that is huge as someone who uses Body Shop quite extensively. really not a good idea. I'm wondering if EA might actually release it separately. I'm not sure, but at this point there is no Sims 2 body shop. Homecrafter is another little program that came originally with The Sims 2 and it is not present in The Sims 2 Legacy Edition. I don't think you would be able to get it to work with The Sims 2 Legacy Edition the same as Body Shop. So if you're someone who uses The Sims 2 Homecrafter, again, I wouldn't go ahead and get the Legacy Edition. The claim that pink soup has been fixed is being met with a lot of mixed reports, but from my personal testing and from what I've seen in my community and from what I'm seeing on Tumblr, pink soup is unfortunately not actually fixed. Right now I have my Sims 2 game open, you can see here, and this is a heavily modded Sims 2 game, but bear in mind. But you can see my sim right here is struggling with the pink soup right in front of us, just with 2 sims on the lot. And before there was a 3rd sim who was also flashing pink. He's gone off to work now, but unfortunately it does not look like pink soup has actually been fixed whatsoever, as you can see here from my game. So don't believe him. Unfortunately, it's possible that pink soup has been improved, and I would say yes, it probably has been improved. Like maybe you're less likely to get pink soup than you were before, but it does seem like unfortunately you're still going to get pink soup playing a heavily modded Sims 2 game, and you're still better off if you want to play with tons of mods to check out my other video all about how to play The Sims 2 on Linux. From my testing, it also seems that a Sims 2 plugin called Scriptorium is broken. So Scriptorium is a plugin for Sims 2 which enables you to easily install custom types of walls, foundations, stairs, and other things. I use Scriptorium a fair bit in my downloads folders. I have a number of custom walls, for example. So by custom walls, what I mean is here in the wall category, you can actually get different types of walls, and in foundations, you can get different types of foundations, and similar with stairs, you can get custom stairs installed as well using Scriptorium. But from what I have seen in my testing, when I tried to move over my Scriptorium files, the game would not load at all. It was crashing instantly. So Scriptorium does appear to be broken. You also use Scriptorium, I forgot to mention this, for installing lighting mods as well. So the Radiance lighting system, for example, you can use Scriptorium to install. And yeah, unfortunately that does seem to be broken at this point in time and does not seem to work. Hey guys, just a quick editor's note here that you can still install custom walls, stairs, etc. and lighting mods. It's just that you can't use Scriptorium to do so, which does make the whole process a lot easier. You can still manually edit the script files to install these custom objects. It's just, yeah, it's a lot harder. Another big thing is that currently The Sims 2 RPC by Lazy Duchess is not compatible with The Sims 2 Legacy Edition. Now, RPC is a custom launcher for The Sims 2, which enables you to bypass the EA app when you want to play. It enables you to improve your game's graphics. It enables you to unlink your Sims personalities and zodiac signs. It also includes support for ASI mods, and ASI mods for The Sims 2, we have a couple of big ones. For example, the Separates for All clothing mod is really, really cool. It enables you to use separate tops and bottoms for all categories of clothing. There is also an ASI mod for fixing the firstborn syndrome fix in The Sims 2, which is a bug where all of your Sims babies will come out looking exactly the same unless you go into Create a Sim and roll the pacifier and reset the game system. So there's an ASI mod included with RPC to fix that as well. I'm not sure if Lazy Duchess is going to go ahead and make a version that is compatible. It's possible that they will, and if they do, fantastic. I will put a comment in the video comment section to update that if it happens. But right now, RPC does not work with The Sims 2 Legacy Edition. So the long and the short of it, just for this brief introductory section of this video, is if you want to play The Sims 2, I still recommend the way that we have all been playing The Sims 2 for the last 20 years, or not 20 years, maybe like 15 years, which is to download it. You can download The Sims 2 OSAB Starter Pack, OSAB Starter Pack, and install it. The starter pack will automatically apply all of the fixes that you need to run The Sims 2. So, for example, the 4GB patch, the Sims Shadow fix, and the graphics rules maker fixes that EA have basically just patched into this version of The Sims 2. That's all included in The Sims 2 starter pack and will all be applied to your game. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Now, for those of you who are new to The Sims 2 and have just got the game and want to experience playing it, The Sims 2, as I said at the start of the video, has 20 years worth of custom content, mods, and downloads that you can get for this game. And in my opinion, The Sims 2 is the most customizable Sims game that we have. It's a close tie between Sims 2 and The Sims 3. To be fair, The Sims 3 is also extremely customizable, but I think The Sims 2 actually takes the cake, because in The Sims 2, you can literally create any neighborhood that you want from scratch. You can play an entire neighborhood rotationally, you can play as a single family, but you can build everything up from scratch as custom as you want. This neighborhood that we're looking at right now is a Build a City challenge that I've been doing called Hanson River, and I actually have some other videos here on the channel where I tour this neighborhood if you're interested in checking it out. But with The Sims 4, there are a couple of big things that are very different to The Sims 2. And so I want to take you through some of those differences and show you sort of around The Sims 2, get you familiar with the environment, help you figure out exactly what you're looking at. So in The Sims 2, first and foremost, the game is not built for playing a singular household by default, okay? And there's a big asterisk there with the by default. But so in The Sims 3 and The Sims 4, it's a lot more common to just play one single household, right? In a town. And those are your Sims, and you just play the same household over and over again. Perhaps you do a Rags to Riches challenge or a Legacy challenge or whatever it is. The Sims 2 is a bit different. The Sims 2 was built with something called rotational gameplay at its core and sort of at the heart of the game. And what that means is that every single lot that exists in your neighborhood is its own individual save file. So each lot can exist independent of the other lots in the neighborhood. What exactly does that mean? I can come in here and play this household, Hanson 3, and nothing else will happen to my other Sims in the neighborhood. And by nothing, I literally mean nothing. There will be no story progression. There will be nothing happening. They will not gain new careers or get promoted or quit their jobs. They may meet some new people depending on a few things, but they're not likely to, break up with their wife or have a new girlfriend the next time you go into their household, unless you have mods. That's just not going to happen, okay? Each household is its own save file, and nothing will happen to your other houses without your intervention. Similarly, with the townies in the neighborhood, nothing happens to them either. They exist kind of just independently of you as the player. And so it's a little different, okay? If you go to a community lot with your Sims, so say I bring one of my Sims to this park that I have over here, the Hanson River Park. So say I bring Louise Eyre, who lives here, to the park, and at the park we see someone from the Golding household. Oh, there's some pink. Say we see William Golding. If he meets a new Sim at the park, then the next time we play his household, he will have met that new Sim. Okay, so things can still kind of happen when you go to community lots. Sims can make new relationships, and depending on what mods you have or don't have, other drama may ensue. But that's pretty much the only way that's going to happen, is if you see your other Sims while you're playing someone else. I hope that makes sense. In the same way, if we were playing Louise and William Golding happened to walk past our house and we said, "Hi, hello, I'm Louise, nice to meet you," and we made friends with William, then the next time we play William Golding's household, that will have happened. Does that make sense, everybody? Am I explaining that correctly? The Sims 2 does also have apartment lots, and when you have Sims living on an apartment lot, you will see the other apartment neighbors while you're there, and so some things may happen to your apartment resident neighbors while you're playing in one particular household. Apartments in The Sims 2 work by having 4 unoccupied apartments where you can move in different households. And so right now I only have one playable household living in here, and the other apartments will be filled with townies who will just move in. But if I want to move another playable Sim in here, then I'll kick the townie out and move them in. But so if I had a second household in here, then I would still see these Sims. They won't age or anything like that, but we will see, they might change their relationship in small ways or something like that. Apartments are a little broken in The Sims 2, I will admit, so be careful with playing with apartments. You do probably want some fix mods if you're going to play apartments, but we'll get to that a bit later. Just to point out, though, they do exist. They are a thing, and they're pretty good. Now, if that doesn't appeal to you, if everything I said, you're like, oh, that doesn't actually sound very good. I don't think I like that the town doesn't progress, you know, around me as I'm playing a household. Everything in The Sims 2 is customizable, my friends. There is a mod for everything in The Sims 2. And there are mods for story progression. There are mods for the town to age and grow around you as you play a particular household. So as I go through everything, please keep that in mind, okay? If you want to play just one household and have the rest of the town do its thing around you, you can totally do that. You would just need to download the story progression mod by Lazy Duchess. We'll get to mods, but just to point out, everything is customizable, okay? Everything. And if you want to see just how much is customizable, I recommend you check out my medieval hood tour video here on YouTube, because that is where I have taken The Sims 2 and I've turned it into a medieval game instead of a modern game, which you could do, and it's fun. Now, on that note of every single thing about The Sims 2 being customizable, I quickly want to touch on the fact that my game here that you're looking at is probably going to look a little bit different to yours if you have just loaded up The Sims 2 vanilla and popped into one of the neighborhoods, for example, Pleasantview or Strangetown or wherever. Everything about The Sims 2 can be customized. The UI can be replaced. The neighborhood trees can be replaced. The ground can be replaced. The roads can be replaced. I have decorative skyboxes and distant terrain that you can download and put in. My camera will zoom out further and be freer to move than your camera will by default. Everything can be customized, whether it be through downloading custom camera mods or default replacements. I'm not going to go into a deeper dive into default replacements in this video because I already have a video about default replacements. If you want to check it out, I will pop a card up and you will see it there. You can click on it and check out my video about default replacements. But just keep in mind as I go through the rest of this video, if you're looking at this going like, her game looks amazing, weird and different to mine, it's because of mods. It's because of custom content. It's because everything in this game can be customized. Now what I want to show you guys is a little bit of stuff about the Sims 2 build mode. So the Sims 2 build mode is extremely different from the Sims 4's build mode. In my opinion, the Sims 4's build mode is amazing, okay? It's fantastic. They made so many amazing upgrades to the build mode system in The Sims when they released The Sims 4, with the platform tool that got patched in, with the stair, you know, configuration things. Sims 4 build mode is incredible, and the Sims 2 build mode is very different. The Sims 2 build mode is also incredible, but it's gonna feel a little weird at first, okay? So, for example, when you build a room, you build with walls. Individual walls. You can also use this tool, oops, that's the diagonal one, to create a whole room at once. But by default, you cannot then push-pull walls, okay? You cannot pick the room up and move it. It is where it is, and if you want to rebuild things, you have to delete and re-add the walls, okay? So that is tip number one. There is much less sort of freedom of movement in terms of build mode. However, we do have something called constrained floor elevation cheat, and that they don't have in The Sims 4. Constrained floor elevation is pretty nuts, to be honest, beyond the scope of this video for sure, but just bear in mind that there is more than meets the eye with The Sims 2's build mode, okay? You might look at this at first and be like, wow, this is very basic, but yeah. The other thing about walls and floors as well is that to delete a wall, you hold down the control button and drag to delete a wall. I think that's different to The Sims 4. And in terms of roofing as well, it is quite a different system. Again, there's no push-pull. Oops, can I put that where I want to put it? And there's no controlling the eaves. There's no controlling the rotation. It's a lot more basic. We do have a lot of different roof types that you can use, like round roofs and things. But yeah, it's a very different build system. With painting walls, you can hold down Shift to paint an entire room. Hold down Control to remove individual paint tiles, and Control Shift to remove everything from what's counted as a room. So that is a bit different as well. You can do the same thing with flooring. So Shift to paint the entire room or just drag it over. Control to remove individual tiles, and Control Shift to remove an entire room. One thing that actually really annoys me when I go into The Sims 4 is that I can't just sell, like, and remove wall paint and floor as easily. It really bugs me. But that's coming from my perspective as primarily a Sims 2 player. Now, with object placement in The Sims 2, it is another thing that is very different to object placement in The Sims 4. So object placement in The Sims 2, we have our lovely grid here. And by default, objects only can be placed on these grid tiles. Okay, now one thing that I see so often when I see someone playing The Sims 2 for the first time is they'll be trying to make a nice little living room and they'll put out their couches and then they'll try to get a TV and they'll be like, oh no, I can't center the TV compared to the couch. Oh, this sucks. Yes, you can. You just need a cheat, okay? You need a very simple cheat. So, with The Sims 2 Mansions and Gardens stuff, they released a cheat which is bullprop set quarter tile placement on. Now with this cheat, you then hit Control F on your keyboard and look, ta-da! I can now place this TV pretty much wherever I want. There is another cheat as well, which is bullprop snap objects to grid false. Now, I've completely turned snapping off. So this is the same as holding down whatever key it is in The Sims 4, I think it's Shift or Alt or something, to place objects freely. If I want to turn that back on, I can then type in true. Now, if you're sitting here thinking, oh my god, T, those are the longest cheat codes ever, what the hell, I don't have time to type in those cheat codes every single time, don't worry, stay tuned to a little bit further in the video. We also do, of course, have move objects on. This is a cheat that you will be very familiar with as a Sims 4 player. Yeah, same thing. You can place objects wherever you like. They can intersect with each other. Move objects on functions basically the exact same as it does in The Sims 4. So yes, we do also have move objects on cheat, and then of course you can turn that back off again. Another key build mode cheat is bullprop allow 45-degree angle of rotation true. And with this cheat, I can rotate by 45-degree angles. Now, unfortunately, by default in The Sims 2, there is no way to freely rotate an object. So you can't just hold down Alt or Shift and rotate and have it work like that. And you also want to use the bracket arrow keys to rotate by 45-degree angles. You can't do that by just using the mouse. If I use the mouse, it only does the main axis rotation, but using the arrow keys, I can do that. There is a modded object, one of my favorite modded objects that even some Sims 2 players aren't aware of. And I'm going to put a download link for this in the description below, but this is Anoeska's floor object rotator. And with this, you can use the M key to adjust objects by 5-degree angles. And this is amazing. I love this mod. So you can adjust things to however you want, recolor this to be invisible, and then Bob's your uncle. This chair is perfectly functional. Your Sims can use it, and it's at a nice little angle. So that's just an extra little tidbit. Hi there, it's Editor Addict once again, because I forgot to tell you guys about a really cool mod that we have in The Sims 2, which is called Shift Everything. So in The Sims 4, you guys will know that you can shift items up and down the Y-axis, and by default in The Sims 2, you can do that with paintings and some items that go on a wall, and you do that using the square bracket keys, or I think those keys will differ depending on your keyboard layout, but for a US layout keyboard, it's the square bracket keys. With the Shift Everything mod, you can do this with pretty much every object in the game, barring some trees and columns. So if I want to, I can grab a toilet. Oh, let me just turn move objects on so you can see it. And I can move my toilet up into the air if I really want to. And most of these items will remain functional and usable by the Sims. This is a really cool mod and I highly recommend everybody use it. So I'm going to put a link to download in the video description. So if you were watching me type in all of those cheat codes and going like, I do not have time for that, I won't be able to remember those cheat codes, etc., I don't blame you. I don't remember them either. I actually had to look some of them up because I use a config file, which is my user startup.cheat file. And this can be put into your My Documents, EA Games, The Sims 2 config folder. And this enables you to turn certain cheats on by default and when you load up the game. And it also enables you to create cheat shortcuts or cheat aliases, as you can see here. So by default, my game starts with 45-degree angle of rotation true turned on. It also starts with quarter tile placement true turned on as well. And all that I have to do to enable quarter tile placement is just hit Control F when I come into the game, and that's a lot easier for me to remember. There are a lot of extra cheats in here as well that you might see, like testing cheats enabled true. I'll go into that in another video, I think. And control pets cheat is turned on as well. That's another cheat that's really helpful, but I'm not going to talk too much more about those cheats for now. We're just focusing on build mode cheats. But yeah, so those two cheats for me are always turned on. I never turn them off. And then in terms of my aliases or my cheat shortcuts, for me to turn move objects on and off, I just type in moon and move. And for snapping, I just type in snap on and snap off. Now I can configure this to be anything that I want. I could just go S on or S off and save this file and update it. I just type in what makes sense to me. I know other people have like move objects on like that and move objects off like that. It's just whatever you want to do. I will attach my user startup cheat file with some basic cheats to this video so you can download it for yourself, and then feel free to come in here and customize this however you like, okay? You can, use whatever cheat codes you want, and I will take some of this out of here because it probably won't make sense to a lot of you, but yeah, that is how I personally handle those like build mode cheats that I just showed you, because it's a lot easier to type snap on and snap off than it is to type bullprop allow snap objects to grid true or whatever the hell that cheat is that I don't even remember, to be completely honest. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk a little bit about is Create a Sim. Create a Sim is another thing that, in my opinion, was vastly improved in the Sims 4, but the Sims 2's Create a Sim is fun. It's fairly solid. It's just a little bit less customizable than the Sims 4's Create a Sim. So first of all, we have 4 main skin tones. We have a default fit state and a default fat state, which, as you can see, is not very fat. In terms of editing the sim, you do not click on the sim and push-pull certain body points. It is all done via sliders, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, as always, if you have been paying attention, remember, everything's customizable. My sims are going to look very different to your sims. You can download as many custom skin tones to put into your game as you want to. Beyond these default 4, you can also... Oh, God. Why won't that close? We're back. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a glitch crash there, which was a bit interesting. My custom skins thing just wasn't working. But as I was saying, you can put in custom skins, and you can also default replace the default skin as well. As I mentioned before, everything is customizable, and you can do whatever you want with eyes, hair, eyebrows. You can customize and default replace everything. You can also default replace face templates. So by default, the game comes with all of these face templates for how your sims look. And you can default replace these and make them look like a lot of different faces. But yeah, what I was going to talk mostly about is the differences in terms of sim customization. We don't click directly on the sim, we have sliders, and these sliders all have a range of 20. 0 is in the middle, -10 that way, and +10 that way. And then you can also right click on face templates as well to like change your sim to look slightly more like face templates without completely changing the template, which is a really cool feature. But yeah, so sliders is how we edit our sims in The Sims 2. Unfortunately, there are no body sliders for The Sims 2. So as I said, we've got fit, we've got fat, and again, this is not fat, this is very normal. I look like this, okay? Maybe even a little more pudgy than that, just to point that out there. That is one of the highest, probably, shortcomings of The Sims 2's Create a Sim, is the lack of body customization. Now, in saying that, again, everything is customizable, and you can actually download something called custom body shapes for The Sims 2, where people have remade certain items of clothing to fit onto different types of body shapes. So you can have like a wide range of different shapes in your game by using custom body shapes. Again, that's a little beyond the scope of this video for today, but I did just want to mention it just in case you look at that and you're like, that's really bad. Yeah, it is. It's very 2004 of The Sims 2, but you can customize it if you want to. Now, I mentioned at the start of this video that a tool called Body Shop was not included in The Sims 2 Legacy Edition, Body Shop actually comes with extra sliders that are not included in Creator Sim by default. I have a mod which enables me to have the Body Shop sliders in Creator Sim. So I would highly recommend downloading that mod if you are running with The Sims 2 Legacy Edition and you don't have access to Body Shop, and I'll put a link for that in the video description. The other thing you'll notice is that I have all of these other sliders in this blue color, and these are custom sliders. And there are many custom sliders available for The Sims 2 that you can download that the community has created. And yeah, you can put them into your game so you can have extra manipulation points for your Sims that you won't otherwise have. You can make the eyelashes longer, etc., etc. Now, as I mentioned, I am running with a number of default replacements in this save file, so my sim is going to look very different to yours. And if you are interested in what defaults I use, leave me a comment and I can share links with you. Or yeah, I highly recommend checking out the video I made all about default replacements, as I mentioned. The other thing that I will mention briefly as well, which I mentioned at the start of the video, is the Separates for All ASI mod. So by default in The Sims 2, in the everyday clothing category, we have shirts, we have or tops, and then we have bottoms, and then we have full body outfits. Then when you go over to formal wear and any of these other categories, by default, the only thing you'll have available is full body outfits. You will not have access to tops and bottoms, but the Separates for All.asi mod enables you to have tops and bottoms for all clothing categories. It is a really good mod. It's actually one of my favorite mods, and one of the reasons that I will not be using The Sims 2 Legacy Edition is that currently this mod I don't believe is supported. But hopefully, Lazy Duchess will release a version which is compatible and supported with The Sims 2 Legacy Edition. Now, in terms of The Sims 2 has a very detailed and intricate genetics system. And again, this can all be modded to your liking. But in The Sims 2, when you set a Sim's hair as black in Creator Sim, you can, of course, in gameplay, dye your Sim's hair to another color. However, genetically, they will still have brown hair in this example, okay? If they have a baby and they've dyed their hair pink, that baby is not going to inherit pink hair. That baby is more than likely going to inherit their genetic hair color, which is brown. There is also a feature called plastic surgery in The Sims 2. So you might have a Sim who by default has this face, and then in gameplay, they get plastic surgery and change the appearance of their face. If they have a child, that child will inherit their original genetic face. They will not inherit their plastic surgeried face. So that is something that is a really cool feature of The Sims 2. One of the things that I think is a real strength of The Sims 2 is the genetics system. And one thing that I definitely sorely miss when I play The Sims 3 and The Sims 4. Eye color is the same as well. Babies will inherit genetic eye colors rather than any like custom eye colors. By default, the genetic system is a little bit biased towards brown hair and black hair. And if you have like a blonde haired Sim have a baby with a black haired Sim, more than likely all of the babies are going to have black hair. But again, you can mod your genetic system to your liking and create whatever you want. There is also a height mod for The Sims 2 if you want your Sims to be different heights, because by default all of the Sims are going to be the same height. Another thing I wanted to mention is that in terms of The Sims 2 custom content, if you're a Sims 4 player, you might be looking at my downloads folder here and going, gee, some of those hairs look familiar. Yeah, because The Sims 4:2 conversions is a massive thing. Massive. And if you go onto Tumblr and you type in Sims 4:2 CC, you will be able to download all of your favorite clothes, hairs, objects, wall paints, floors, kitchens, you name it, for The Sims 2. Because we Sims 2 players, we absolutely love 4:2 conversions and we tend to use a lot of them. So that's a good thing, I guess, if you're coming over to The Sims 2 from The Sims 4 and you're like, I really want this couch that I usually always use in The Sims 4, chances are you can probably download it for The Sims 2. The last thing that I'll mention in terms of Creator Sim is the way that Sims personalities work. So by default, we have our star signs, and these will give our Sims different personality points in these major areas: sloppy versus neat, shy versus outgoing, lazy versus active, serious versus playful, and grouchy versus versus nice. So I can click and drag with these using a mod, which is Zodiac and Personality are unlinked. Otherwise, your best bet is to just try small edits in terms of personality. By default, there are no personality traits in The Sims 2, but once again, there are mods for that. You can get into something called the Sims 3-2 Traits project, and while that's not a part of Create a Sim, in gameplay, you can then assign your Sims traits. By default, there are also 6 or 7 major aspirations. So there's not a high number of aspirations, but there are a very high number of lifetime wishes. So our main aspirations are pleasure, family, romance, knowledge, fortune, and popularity. That is it. There are no other custom aspirations. Turn-ons and turn-offs. This relates to the chemistry system in The Sims 2. The chemistry system is fairly robust. And again, you can have modded turn-ons and turn-offs so that your Sims are more or less attracted to different things. But yeah, I can have my Sim attracted to brown-haired Sims who have a high-level career and turned off by Sims with blue eyes, if I want to. There is also a feature in The Sims 2 called secondary aspirations, which I will show you. Right, so here's my Sim Mackenzie Edwards, and if we come down into this little treasure chest, this rewards tab, we can see in her inventory, I have given her some personality traits, so that goes into the 3-2 Traits project. And then if we click on Aspiration Rewards, and on this icon here, Lifetime Aspiration Benefits, I can then assign her a secondary aspiration. So I mentioned before there's 6 major aspirations and also a hidden one, which is grilled cheese. That's beyond this video. Her main aspiration is pleasure, and she has a secondary aspiration of romance. So this can add extra depth to your Sims in terms of giving them more and different wants and fears as you play through the game. Your Sims also have interests, which control what they like to talk about and what they will get along with or not get along with in terms of relationships with other Sims. So if your Sim has a high interest in animals and they try talking about animals to another Sim who has a very low interest in animals, that conversation will not go well and they will probably not be friends. Your Sim also has hobby. So they have a natural hobby, their one true hobby, which the game predetermines. You can change it with mods if you don't like it. But there are 10 major hobbies in The Sims 2, which came with free time. And so these are hobbies that your Sims can have. Plus, your Sim also has memories, and there is a very detailed and intricate memory system in The Sims 2 that you can explore as you play through the game. This last tab here is the chemistry system. So I mentioned this before, but she's turned on by talented Sims who are aliens, and is turned off by Sims who are too logical. She doesn't like anyone who's too smart for her, apparently. That is all that I have time to talk to you about today. I could talk about The Sims 2 all day long, and in the future I hope to release a lot more videos teaching you how to play and teaching you about the game. But I hope that you've enjoyed this brief introduction to our beloved Sims 2. This is my favorite Sims game. I do also love The Sims 1. I love The Sims 3. The Sims 4 is not my favorite. Okay, just gonna put that out there. But I have played it. I have tried. The Sims 2 is amazing. So I hope that if you are discovering it for the first time, you have loads of fun. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments and I will do my best to answer you. I also have a very active and helpful Discord community. If you want to join, there's a link in the description for that as well. If you would like to see more Sims 2 content, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and I will hopefully see you again real soon. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.